Hey guys, and welcome to today's Q&A. I've been super excited to do this video for a while now. There were a lot of questions, and I appreciate the love you guys showed me, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do all of them. So if you feel strongly about a question or really just interested, just DM me at my Instagram, med_head, and I will try to answer that question to the best of my ability. I've chosen about 27 questions, which are quite a lot, but even though I've chosen the questions, I haven't come up with an answer for them. So what you see is going to be the real-time, thought-out answer to the question, and that could produce some pretty embarrassing clips, so let's get ready. Alright, so the first question is, how tall are you? I am actually 5'10", just kind of an average height dude. The second question is, how do you manage to follow your daily schedule without procrastinating? For the most part, I procrastinate in some form every day. It's just about monitoring that procrastination and being able to stunt it, or in the beginning of the day, what you can do is schedule time for procrastination. And that's the way I like to think of it. It's really just scheduling breaks. But it's just time for me to feel like, okay, I'm letting loose of the reins, and this is scheduled time, so I don't have to feel guilty about it. So if I schedule that time to take breaks, I basically afterwards feel more inclined to actually stick to the focused schedule and focus on what I'm doing, because I already have my time to procrastinate or have that break, if that makes sense. Another question is, does anyone else in your family practice or study medicine? No, actually. I am, I guess you could say, a first-generation medical student. I do have a godfather who is a physician and a godmother who is a nurse, and they're married, but other than that, no one immediately blood-related to me that is in medicine. But my mom is a teacher, and quick random aside, I think educators are severely underpaid and severely underappreciated. Best moment in your life and worst? Ooh, this is deep. So, the best moment in my life would have to be getting into med school. I remember that whole day was just like a weird random bliss. It felt unreal, and it was something that I had been in such doubt about for a long time. So for it to actually be here was really insane to me. The worst moment of my life would have to probably be, it was around MCAT time, and I was studying, and I think it was about a week or two before my MCAT, and my grandma passed away, and I didn't get to do a lot of visiting with her because she was in Houston and I was in Waco studying for the MCAT. So that was really hard to say bye to her around such a already hard time because of the MCAT. So, okay, no crying. Is it difficult to balance your school life with medical school? That's the next question. Yeah, I would say besides the load in med school, balance is probably the second hardest thing about med school, and it's because of the load. So I would say it's hard, but not impossible. Some people are better than others at doing it, so it's possible. It's just also about what you are willing to sacrifice. The next question is, how do you stay healthy with all the studying you have to do? Well, I used to not, so that would be an easy answer, but I know I mentioned this to you guys already, but I use TEAMI a lot, which is a superfood blend. Hold on, I'm gonna go actually get it right now. So this is the superfood blend, and it is by TEAMI, obviously. And I used to really struggle to eat all the vegetables I needed. It's even hard to just eat at all, period, with all the studying you have to do, and you have to kind of schedule in eating breaks. So with TEAMI, I'm kind of able to get that one scoop in my orange juice in the morning, and I'm done for the day. I feel so much healthier. Mentally, I feel more confident in my health, but also physically, I have way better digestion. My gut health is noticeably better. And one of my favorite things about TEAMI, which I didn't think I would get with it when initially trying it, because when I got TEAMI, my initial thoughts were, I'm trying to be healthier. But I also find myself weaning off of coffee whenever I use TEAMI. On days that I use TEAMI, I use maybe only 1 cup of coffee. I used to do 2 or 3 a day. And sometimes even on days that I use TEAMI and I get a good night's sleep, I don't eat any coffee. And there's 16 superfood ingredients in here. It's 100% plant-based, vegan, GMO-free, gluten-free, dairy, soy-free. There's no fillers, additives, no official colors. I mean, it's very natural. Did the computer just turn on? The computer just randomly turned on behind me. I guess we could try to ignore that. But if you want to see the inside, it's here. Mine is almost gone. I really need to replenish. It's a smooth, natural kind of green powder color. When I mix it in with my orange juice, it mixes super well. I know people who drink it straight up with just water. I drink it in smoothies also. But I definitely recommend these TEAMI greens. And I'll put a discount code down below if you guys want to try this out with me. MedHead15 for 15% off, or MedHead20 for 20% off of orders $40 or more. Again, I will put those links down below. below. Next question is, what's something you wish you knew as a pre-med before med school? So I think I had initially like a good idea how hard med school was, but I will say now, and I've said before, and I probably will say until I graduate and I am a doctor, the load in medical school is something that can't be taken lightly, really. And it's something you're gonna have to make sacrifices for. And I didn't expect to make as many sacrifices for studying. I also didn't expect to have to basically move so fast. Having a heavy load is one thing, but the load plus the speed of moving through that load is just insane to me. And I guess that's why they can have such a heavy load, because they move so fast through things. That's probably something I wish I knew before starting medical school. Does having your bachelor's degree really help you out now? I was a psychology major, and actually that was a question I got, what major were you in college? I was a psychology major. Don't get me wrong, getting into medical school and having a major that's helpful to get in is very different than having a major to do well. Having a very different major than biochem or biochem, that could help you getting into medical school just because of the uniqueness, different backgrounds. Medical schools love people who are smart, but also different. And if you can bring something to the table that's different, but you're also smart, that's something medical schools love, diversifying their school with also super competent people who are intelligent. And so I don't regret being a psych major in that aspect. Flipping sides, there are a lot of other areas that other people are able to pull out things I'm not, because I was a psych major. Obviously, everything that's very like normal pre-med classes to take prerequisites, I took biochem, OChem, even extra classes like anatomy, and I was a biochem SI, so I'm a little bit better at biochem, but for the most part, I didn't take a lot of the different sciences that are required for biochem or biochem majors or even physics majors. And I feel like within the first year of medical school, that's where you're gonna reap the benefits of being a science major. So both have pros and cons. And with that, my degree was useful, and I don't regret being a psych major for the purposes of having a diversified background. For some reason, a lot of you guys are really interested in who I'm dating. My partner does not really want to be in the spotlight or kind of revealed. However, someone asked me to see my partner whenever I get one of those trendy show me a picture of kind of stories, and I posted it and it went away after 24 hours. If you didn't see it then, you probably won't know what my partner looks like for a very long time until they decide they want to be seen again. It's gone. But if they decide they want to meet you, I will oblige. Best advice for avoiding burnouts and recommendations for pre-med summer activities. So avoiding burnouts is very personal to who you know you are. You have to know yourself well, and this is kind of like a dark thing to say, but for me personally, I didn't know how to avoid burnouts for myself until I eventually experienced the burnout. Before then, it was kind of like I was kind of pushing the burnout, but I never burned out, so I didn't know what my boundaries were. However, around MCAT time, around junior year, I actually hit a wall, a burnout. It was over, it was done, and I realized then how I needed to monitor myself and what I needed to do. And so for me, being realistic and setting high achieving goals, but not too high, were important for me not to burn out, and also just for me maintaining my confidence and my capabilities. And my best recommendations for pre-med summer activities is to, if you're not doing anything, like a lot of us did and like I did, I really just tried to get ahead sometimes. Like if I had OChem 1 the next semester, I would just look at some basic topics over OChem. And I know it's very try-hard sounding, but I literally had nothing to do. So that's what I did. What I wish I could have done was do some volunteering, whether that be clinical or non-clinical, and make sure it's commitment based and something that you enjoy. Or shadowing. I actually did shadow one summer. Something that was really hard for me to get as a pre-med, and I eventually got, but not during the summer, was research. So if you can do research during the summer, that's also a plus. Can you have a life outside of medical school is the next question.
No.
I'm kidding. Oh my god, I'm horrible. Okay, you can have a life out of medical school, like I kind of already said. However, you have to be okay with the idea that medical school is a big part of your life. Med school doesn't have to be your only life or the life that you're living, but it is going to be a big part of your life. How many hours do you have to yourself per week aside from sleeping? So per day, I would say, not counting breaks, like between studying, not counting breaks, 1.5 hours to 2 hours after studying, where I quite literally just don't do anything. What is your favorite thing to eat after a long day? It depends on what day it is, because some days I'm really craving pizza, and other days I'm really craving Wingstop, and some days I'm really craving ice cream. But usually or Cane's. You guys know I love Cane's, but usually my go-to is Wingstop. If I'm really feeling like rewarding myself, I love Wingstop. Y'all are not holding back. Okay, weird question, I guess. Why you always wearing hats in almost every video? including this one. Long answer short, my hair is always a mess, and if I'm wearing a hat, it's usually to cover up what I think is a mess. I've had certain people tell me your hair doesn't look bad. It looks horrible to me. So I put on a hat, and I'm sorry you have to see the hat a lot, especially this one because this is my favorite hat, but that's why I wear hats. Advice or recommendations for incoming medical students. And I'll kind of answer another one that was similar to this, advice for people going to McGovern this incoming year. So in general, I'm going to give a McGovern answer because I'm at McGovern, but I think this will apply to everybody. So McGovern starts with foundations, and they do all of anatomy with foundations for a semester, if at all possible. Like, you have time. If you don't have time, don't worry about it. And especially if you took anatomy. But if you didn't, just do some slight random reviews or at your own leisure of back anatomy, the muscles in the back, and all that fun stuff. Because that's what we're gonna start with at McGovern, and everything's gonna feel really horrible at first. I mean, that's a horrible way to put it, but it will feel horrible because it's a lot coming at you. The first day is nice because they try not to do a science class and throw everything at you, but then as things progress in the week, you get to day 2, day 3, and then you're like, oh shoot. What would be helpful is to, for at least the first anatomy lab, you at least have seen some of the anatomy for the back muscles. Don't worry about origin or insertion. Maybe try to just focus on what the back muscle looks like, the name, the innervation, and the function. There's really nothing else you can do besides maybe some slight review of anatomy, and really even then, you don't have to do anything. That's in the best interest of your mental health and what's coming down the line, because when you're in the thick of things, you're really gonna wish you just literally did nothing. Did you have any medical related jobs before medical school? I actually did not. I volunteered at a clinic, but I didn't have any medical related jobs. I worked at a Bahama Bucks. If you guys know what that is, it's a frozen ice kind of restaurant. And I worked at PDQ, which is kind of like a chicken tender restaurant. And then I was also a tutor at Baylor, and then I was a supplemental instructor, or SI, at Baylor. So I didn't have any medical related jobs. You don't need to. But if you want to be a scribe while you're in undergrad, that's a really great opportunity. And I know a lot of people who are scribes who are in my class right now who know more things or have seen more things than me because they have that exposure. Where are you originally from? Love your videos, by the way. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I am originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, so that's where I was born in. After Hurricane Katrina, I moved to Houston, which is where I currently go to medical school. So I was born there, and then I moved to Houston in 2005, so I was really only there for about a little over 7 years, so I was mostly raised in Houston. Would you say that you have to be a genius to get into medical school? No! I mean, there's no denying that everyone in medical school is smart, but you don't have to get everything like that. You don't have to know everything. You just have to be smart and willing to work hard. How do you and your partner meet in the middle with you being so busy with medical school? So that is kind of one of the parts I was talking about earlier, where the sacrifice I had to make for medical school was way more than I thought, and I wish I didn't have to sacrifice so much. However, me and my partner had a discussion earlier on where we talked about how much I would have to be studying and how much I would have to literally seclude myself. We came to terms with that. We agreed on certain times that I would allow myself to get away from studying, specifically to spend time with him. But then we also came to an agreement that a lot of the times I'm going to have to study, and it's not gonna be like it was before medical school. I wasn't gonna be able to spend as much time with him. So it was just kind of coming to that agreement, setting boundaries, setting standards. But like I said, if I didn't answer your question, I'm super sorry. There were a lot. But if you wanna know the answer, inbox me at my Instagram and I'll try to answer that for you. I hope it wasn't too boring, and I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. And I will see all you guys on the very next MedHead.